Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, we're back.
It's season 2, baby.
And we're better than ever.
I feel better than ever.
Do you?
No. Of course not.
I mean, I have to say this. I really miss the podcast so much.
Me too. I would listen to old episodes because I missed you, friend.
I know. Well, yeah, there's been so much. I can't even remember the last time we made one of these things. It's been that long.
I can't even remember the last time I've seen your face.
I know. It's changed. I'm Benjamin Buttoning, as you know.
Oh, no, I meant your face in general, not this beautiful new young face that you have.
Yes, it's true. It's been a bit since we saw each other. We have so much to talk about, and we're going to talk about movies. We've missed all of you guys.
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in for season 2, Emily's going to tell you what this podcast is about.
Oh my gosh, I should
What is
probably
it
do that.
about?
So this is a podcast where I'm Emily Paul, and I have a best friend, and her name is Kim Tweed. So me and my best friend Kim Tweed, we talk about the movies that we watched when we were younger that we rewatch them as adults, and we kind of look at them through our new eyes and
Literally and figuratively.
literally and figuratively, and see how this content that we watched so much of when we were younger perhaps impacted us as adults.
Sure.
In maybe negative, maybe positive ways. Mm-hmm. But I think both Kim and I were children who watched movies a lot.
We were, yes.
Yeah, we were pop culture kids. We watched movies all the time.
Right.
This kind of stuff was very important to our lives.
Still is.
Still is.
Yeah.
I mean, I find myself quoting movies like these movies that we watch
Yeah, that are like 30-some years old.
all the time.
Yeah, that are older than some functioning adults.
Yeah, like my brain just automatically goes to the line.
Oh, yeah, of
from the
course.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just craziness.
Right, right.
I did not realize until last season when we watched Pretty Woman how many times a day
You say something's huge.
I quote Pretty Woman.
Right.
Like, my language has been impacted by these movies.
Sure.
The way that I interpret the world has been impacted by these movies. So we rewatch them, and then we talk about them.
Yeah, we tell you guys about them, so you don't have to watch them, or maybe we tell you to rewatch them. But anyway, this is season 2, and in our first season, we ambitiously completed 50 episodes.
Jesus Christ.
We don't know what we're doing. And so this season, we're switching it up a little bit.
We're trying to tighten. We're going to
Keep it tight.
keep it tight.
And we're bringing it back down, and we've kind of done things a little bit differently.
We are. So what we did this season was we were advised by our advisors to keep it to 20 episodes. We're going to have 20 episodes this season. We have already pre-selected.
And I'm already regretting all of my decisions.
I know. I hate myself.
Yeah.
I'm
not good at this.
We pre-selected, and we had our producer look at both of our, like, we had an outside person who looked at both of our lists to make sure that we didn't have any doubles.
Right, because we don't know what the other one is bringing to the table.
We never do.
Right. And we still won't.
We still will not. That will stay the same this season. We still will not know what each other's bringing to the table, but we know what our full slate of movies are, our half is for this coming season.
Right.
There's some good ones on there.
Although
I already had to order a DVD.
Well,
I know.
I didn't even look to see if my movie was available. I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
And that also will not change.
It will never.
It will never change. So, yeah. So very excited for this season, for these movies. There was a point in time over the break where I was like, maybe I should read a book about this film genre and film history.
Don't try to bring any information and knowledge into this podcast.
Yeah. And then I was like, no, I studied this stuff in college and that's fine. Although, hey,
Hey, what?
my college
Yeah.
in the break. It's not even it doesn't exist.
What does that mean for you?
I don't know. Does
Are
it mean
you
that-
an uneducated fool now?
I don't know. Do they take away my degree?
I hope so. I hope they do it ceremonially, like they gave it to you in the first place.
I don't know. With that word, I hope someone takes away yours.
I hope someone in robes comes and takes yours back.
Maybe. So some of you guys might have seen the news, University of the Arts, which is the school that taught me everything I know about the cinema.
Which you'll see is a lot.
Which is a lot. That school just closed.
So what are they doing with all those buildings and stuff?
People are upset.
I'll bet.
There's lawsuits happening. There are people who they just had a rally on the front steps.
Oh, those people were dancing and singing.
I know,
and
these
jazz
fucking
handing around.
fame
Save
artists.
our school.
No, the school. Well, it seems like a lot of the other schools in Philadelphia are allowing students who were going there to apply for free and are
okay.
like,
So you could get so maybe you can apply your credits to like a big name school.
Yeah, maybe.
You're like, hey, Drexel, listen.
Well, I think Temple is like involved, so maybe,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
so maybe.
Okay.
But
You and Bill Cosby.
that all worked out for him. He's a good one to have as a mentor. Yeah, so that happened over the break. So many other things happened.
Yeah. What's your big news? This is a podcast only about you, so let's do it.
We have news too.
I don't. I
You
really
don't?
don't. I thought about it and I really don't. So let's focus on you, Emily.
Okay.
What have you been doing?
Well, I quit my job.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, guys. So I quit a job about, well, I guess it's been almost 2 months since I quit, since
Sure.
I did the deed. That's not a good way to say it.
No. Try again.
I got to tell you guys, quitting a job feels good. Like especially if you have a new job that you're excited about.
And you do.
And I do.
So don't worry about it, people. She's happy.
I'm happy. Well, that's the funny thing. When you tell people, when I was at said old job, and I would tell people that I was leaving, immediately their faces were like, oh no. Like immediately the assumption was that I got fired, which I don't know what that says about me.
I think of it, I think that when you work at a company, no matter what the company, it's a little bit like a cult.
Oh yeah, they
And
are.
you just, anywhere, and you just feel like, why would you ever want to leave the cult? It's so good here.
If you're in the cult and fully like, I love this cult,
Uh-huh.
then yeah, people
you
do
just-
get, and I also think that it makes people, it's threatening to people's choices.
Well, it makes them have to think about what
It
they're
makes
doing.
them have to think about that.
Sure,
as
but
well.
we're not, this is not a work podcast. So you quit your job. Let's move on.
I quit my job. I went to Europe.
Yeah.
I went on a European vacation
Right.
with just me and my 13-year-old daughter, which was an epic adventure of mass proportions.
Great.
Went to Paris and London. Love London. Paris,
Okay, let's not piss off the Parisians. They're about to have their Olympics.
they are, which I do love the Olympics, so I'm very excited about that. Yeah, just lots of things happening.
Good. Well, good.
I
I'm so
know.
glad. I've done nothing. You know what I did? I went to work and
You
got
did.
grief from my best friend for not doing research for our podcast.
You know what I have done over this time period? I've watched a lot of movies.
Oh, good.
But it's funny, I was just thinking about this in the car on my ride over. Do you find yourself, and I think we've talked about this before, where you're like looking for a movie to watch, and there are definitely movies that I'm just like, oh, I can't watch that because it might be a movie that we're going to watch here.
100%.
And it's funny because it's not like any of those movies I've seen a million times.
No, and I think too, like Randy watches my husband watches a lot of horror movies from that time period, and I'm like, oh no. And then I'm like, I would never pick this.
Right.
I'm never choosing Children of the Corn. You know, like,
No,
so.
I'm probably not choosing it either.
And I did one thing over the break.
Oh, you're so
One
excited.
thing.
What was the one thing?
I made us merch.
You did! I'm wearing the merch right
And
now.
it looks so good, guys. I'm very talented. I hate to break this to you.
I wore the merch all over Europe.
Yeah.
I advertised all over Europe.
Nice.
Yes.
So we have a lot of international con fans these days.
Well, I have been seeing people from international countries who are tuning in, which has been...
I'm sure it's directly related to your trip.
It is directly related to my trip, obviously. But yeah, our merch is really cool. Definitely recommend everybody checks out our
It's
website.
on our website, confidentlycontroversial.com. There's a little button that says store. And we have some t-shirts, we have some stickers, and we have some hats.
Yes, and Kim designed all of our clothes and the t-shirts are very cool.
And you say they're nice quality.
They're a high quality t-shirt. And I have been wearing them, and they fit really well.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, so I'm happy with them. I'm pleased.
Great.
And you will be too when you buy your confidently controversial merchandise.
From Tonka, Seiko.
What?
I don't know. Sounded like
Okay.
it.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Cut. All right, so yeah, that's what happened to
Good.
us. Do we have any other changes we want to talk about on the podcast?
Changes with the podcast. Well,
Yeah.
you know what, everybody, we have some surprises.
Okay.
Maybe.
It's a surprise?
Yeah.
Well, I think I mean, I think that maybe we need to talk about the biggest change,
Which one's that?
the Spader change.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, you talk about it. I've been talking a lot.
You sure have. Last season, all 50 episodes, we were focused on one Mr. James Spader.
Yeah, we were.
Because we love him.
Yeah, we do.
And we, at the end of our episodes, can tie back. It's basically like that 6 Degrees of Spader. We're tying back all of the movies to Mr. James Spader. So 50 is a lot. And we found out he's done a lot of stanky movies.
Oh, he has.
But we
That
still
poor baby
love
boy.
him.
But he's done a lot of work. He's a great.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have a great respect for James Spader, and the fact that he's just been a working actor for so many decades.
Great.
And he's still doing it.
So
Okay, I'm
what
sorry.
we're going to do is we're going to leave him behind for
But
season 2.
in the pod, but never in our hearts.
That's correct.
Yes.
And we have switched it up, and somehow accidentally in season 1, we bookended. We sandwiched ourselves between Spader movies.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah. First movie, last movie, James Spader movie. So our new person for this year, we're going to sandwich ourselves again. Mm-hmm. And this is a fine, fine sandwich.
Oh, this is some good bread. High quality artisanal bread.
Right, right. This season, we are focused on Mr.
Your husband.
Christian Michael Leonard Slater.
Is his name Michael Leonard Slater?
Christian Michael Leonard Slater.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, Christian Slater, like, he's worthy. We went back and forth quite a bit deciding, but I think we pretty quickly landed on Christian
Yeah, we
Slater.
also like that it went from Spader to Slater.
Yeah, that's not
So,
too big of a change.
Not AC Slater. Don't get confused.
Well, I'm looking forward to learning more about the life and work of Christian Slater
Yeah.
through his cinematic resume.
Treasure trove. Yeah. So our first movie is my choice,
Yes.
and we're about to get into it right now. So the movie, as I said,
As you...
Christian Slater is in it.
Okay. Yes.
We're excited. And Christian Slater was the object of my affection for many, many years.
Well, you had like a real... I mean, I feel like I was a casual admirer of Christian Slater.
Oh, no.
But you were like really invested in loving
Oh,
him.
yeah. Like when I did research, a little bit of research on him, I was just like, oh, I already knew that. I already knew that. So it was a little scary for him and me. But so the movie that we're going to watch this week, it came out on August 24th, 1990.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay. A summer film of the 90s.
It's a summer film of the 90s.
Okay.
And it's rated R. Getting dirty quick.
Here we are with Christian Slater.
Yes. And this movie was directed and written by Alan Moyle.
Okay.
And he didn't really have too much going on, but he ultimately went on to direct one of my other favorite movies, 1995's Empire Records. So you love that movie.
Okay.
And he also directed the 2004 made-for-TV movie, Man in the Mirror, the Michael Jackson story.
Is that the one that stars Ralph Fiennes' brother as Michael Jackson?
Oh, I don't know. It's 2004, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think so.
okay.
You need to see some images from this because you
Okay.
have a white guy playing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so he had directed a movie. It didn't do that great, so he kind of backed out of movie making for a while, and he wrote a screenplay. And the script caught the attention of SC Entertainment, and they put the movie into development. But part of the development deal basically was that the movie could be canceled at any time if they could not find a suitable actor to be the lead. So like that was a caveat of getting the movie made.
Like you have to get somebody good.
Yeah.
Because the only way this thing's going to work is if
the person is good to start out with.
Okay.
And they said the actor had to have glee to be ineffably sweet and at the same time demonic.
Oh, that's Christian Slater.
Yeah. To a T.
that they're basically describing Christian Slater.
Yeah. And then they thought about having John Cusack. They offered it to John Cusack.
I don't think he's sweet. I guess
he's not
sweet.
smarmy enough.
He's not smarmy.
I don't think so.
No.
So he turned it down because he had just done Say Anything and he wasn't really feeling another high school movie.
John Cusack, I don't know. I have weird feelings about him since we did.
I think he's a little bit of a baby, perhaps.
I think he's a little bit of a baby as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, press.
So this movie has themes of censorship, teenage angst, power of self-expression, teenage alienation, and the dangers of conformity.
Oh.
It has since risen to cult status, but at the time it only grossed about $1.6 million in its first weekend and about $11.5 million overall.
How much did it cost to make? Do you know?
I don't
Kim.
know. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Okay, we'll find that out.
They wanted the main character to be an amalgam of, and that means a mix.
I know what amalgam is, and so do our listeners.
Of Holden Caulfield
Okay.
from Catcher in the Rye.
I know
Okay,
who
I'm
Holden
not telling
Caulfield
you.
is.
Sorry, I forgot you're not dumb on the break. And also Lenny Bruce.
Who's Lenny Bruce, Kim?
I don't know, Emily. So that's the character they were looking for. It takes place in a high school in Arizona, but it was actually shot in California.
Of course it was.
And like I said, it didn't do well, but Siskel and Ebert, actually, our favorite guys, we love Siskel and Ebert,
We do.
just so you know. Siskel and Ebert, they made an episode of their show where they critiqued movies, and they made one that was about movies that didn't do well or did bad at the box office that they felt should be given another look when they're on video.
Okay, good for them.
And this was on the list.
That's a good episode.
Yeah, they did not really understand why it didn't get the initial attention that it deserved. And they actually thought it was because of the R rating, because it's a high school set movie and high school kids couldn't see it because it was rated R.
Okay.
So it was like a bad decision
Okay.
to make it rated R. What else?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Do we know what I think I know what this movie is. Can I make a guess?
Yeah, of course.
Is this Pump Up the Volume?
It is Pump Up the Volume.
Can I tell you something?
You've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
I'm so excited for you.
This is one of those movies that, like Siskel and Ebert, it's always been a movie I've wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
I probably was not allowed to see it when it came out. What year did it come out?
1990.
1990. So, I mean, I was 13. I probably was not allowed to see it. But it's one of those movies that I think I probably will like a lot.
Yeah, I think you will too. So obviously starring Christian Slater. He is the lead in this movie. Samantha Mathis.
Who's that? I knew that name.
She was in some other stuff.
Okay, I'll recognize her.
You will recognize her. And then the only other person, they listed a bunch of people that were in it. The only other person I recognized was Seth Green, and I don't know how big of a part.
He was probably a little boy.
Maybe.
He was. Because remember,
1990?
he was in Can't Buy Me Love, remember? And he was like the kid brother. And he was pretty young.
Okay.
He's like our age.
So the tagline of this movie is Talk Hard.
Ew. I don't like that tagline. Maybe
Well-
that's why I didn't do well in the box office. So I was looking at that poster and it's like Talk Hard. And they're like, no, thank you.
So, and this came out, like I said, 1990. This is a kind of about pirate radio or underground radio. And I thought about it in terms of, do you remember our pirate / underground radio station?
DOX.
Right. And that was like a big, like a thing at the time. And I don't even know if that was a real pirate radio station or if we just like made up some lore around it.
I think the thing with, the thing with DOX, so DOX probably came out in 93, 94.
Or a little before, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a local radio station.
Like an independent radio station?
An independent radio station. But
supposedly?
But they were playing alternative music.
Right.
And at the time, all of that, like, grungy rock and roll stuff was not being played on the main radio stations in our town, which were playing more classic rock.
Yes.
Which, to this day, there's a special place in my heart for classic rock.
WZXL.
ZXL. Either that or oldies. I feel like that was the thing. It was like classic rock or oldies. Right. And those were, like, or it was, like, modern, like, pop, hip-hop,
top 40 or
top
whatever.
40 stuff, which was, like, Mariah Carey and shit.
Sure.
And this station came out. I don't even know how we found, like, somebody found it.
Yeah, I think it was just like a word of mouth kind of thing. Like, obviously there was no internet or social media or anything, so it was very much word of mouth. It could have been a situation where somebody we knew was running it. Who knows?
But they didn't. But they didn't have any advertising on it.
And they made up their own They made their own advertising after a while. Do you remember? Like, they would have. I remember they would do, like, local commercials because they had one about a pizza place.
Okay.
And it was like, pizza's a lot like sex. Even if it's not good, it's still pretty great. Or something like that.
Yeah, but I remember and the station also, we figured out, because it got really popular all of a sudden. It blew up. And it became clear that it wasn't a DJ situation. It was like somebody was playing mixtapes. Right. Because you would know
the next song
that was going to come on.
Yeah.
And once people started figuring that out, then I think they changed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for a while, I think it probably was just like some guy.
Yeah.
And I have a vague recollection of a guy being at the sidewalk sale in Stone Harbor. So in our town, every summer, there's like a big sidewalk sale. Uh-huh. And there was like a guy who was in front of a surf shop who was like
DJ?
he was like from DOX, and he was like interviewing people or something. But he could have just been a scammer. You don't know.
Just playing the radio.
Maybe.
Giving away t-shirts and playing the radio.
Perhaps. Who knows?
I remember it was definitely a sensation, a new sensation.
It was. And I think that I knew about pirate radio stuff from this movie, just knowing about this movie. Right. Though I've never seen this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the kids in this...
What's your relationship with this movie?
I've seen this movie quite a bit.
Okay.
I, again, was a huge Christian Slater fan.
Is this the movie that made you fall in love with Christian Slater?
Perhaps. I mean, he's very hot in this movie. He smokes a lot of cigarettes. So many cigarettes, in fact, that he got physically ill multiple times while filming the movie because he smoked too much.
Aw, poor baby.
Yeah, I mean, and he was... Christian Slater was born in 1969.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So he's 21 years old.
When this movie came out.
21.
Okay, he's baby.
Prime Slater.
Aww.
Yeah. So I'm probably not allowed to say that now, but back then...
Yeah.
I was young.
Prime Tweed.
I was Prime Tweed. Exactly. Yeah, so Samantha Mathis is in it, and she and Christian Slater were actually dating for about a year when they shot this movie. So they say the chemistry that they have is real.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll decide.
Okay.
And
I know Samantha Mathis is.
They starred in 2 other movies together. Broken Arrow in 1996.
I remember the name of that, but I don't think I've seen that.
I feel like Nicolas Cage is in that, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe not, though. And then they also starred in an animated movie called Fern Gully. Do you remember that movie?
Of course I remember Fern Gully.
So they're both the voices of that movie.
Okay.
Okay. So Christian Slater, at the time of shooting this, had his driver's license suspended for the second time for DUIs.
Oh,
Yes.
Christian.
And so right before filming, I don't know if this is true or not, because they said they had to rewrite the film to make it so he couldn't drive in the film. Okay. But I don't understand why he wouldn't be able to. Like, most of the time when they're driving in films, they're like being on a rig and stuff like that. So I don't understand why he wouldn't have been able to drive in the movie if he had a suspended license. Like, that seems far-fetched.
Yeah, they're probably trying to make him seem like he's a bad boy.
I think they just wanted to bring up the fact that he had gotten arrested for 2 DUIs in 2 years.
Okay, good for him.
And I did want to tell you a little bit about Christian Slater,
Tell me.
since he is the star of the show. And he did have some trouble.
Did he?
Yeah,
What
he's
kind
had
of
some
trouble?
in life. He's had some DUIs, Emily. Quite a few.
He's a jerk. He's a party boy. He's
He
fun. What
brought-
you're telling me is he's fun.
He brought a gun on a plane in 1994. That's fun to you?
It's questionable.
1997, he was on a lot of drugs and punched his girlfriend in the face.
No.
I know. And in 2005, he was arrested for groping a woman. So
I'm sorry. I just need to say this. A Mr. James Todd Spader
would never.
Would never.
That's right. That's right.
Would never.
So I just want to get his, I want to air his dirty laundry.
He's a little problematic.
Yeah.
But he's
problematic.
okay now.
I think so.
Has he repented? Has he like moved? Has he acknowledged that maybe he was troubled, and has he
I think
made
so.
amends?
I think he might be sober now. I'm not 100% sure, but
he was just in that Jerry Seinfeld movie.
About the Pop-Tarts.
About the Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw him on the screen, I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was like,
he's the
yay.
kind of person I root for just because, I'm in love with him.
Well, he's your husband. So.
He grew up with, his dad was an actor and his mom was a casting director and executive producer on film. So he grew up in that Hollywood world. He was born in New York City, August 18th, 1969. He went to school for like kid actors and everything. So he's pretty much like groomed to be an actor from a very young age.
Was he a child actor?
He was, when he was 8 years old, he starred on One Life to Live, the soap opera. And he also starred on Ryan's Hope, which is another soap opera.
I remember, yes.
And then he was on, he made his Broadway debut in The Music Man.
Okay.
But he was also in a lot of other plays like David Copperfield, Merlin.
Okay. Stop saying Merlin.
Merlin.
Say it one more time. One more
Can
time.
you hear me? Merlin. And then Macbeth. Why can I talk? It's like I've never heard the word before. I think it's called Macbeth.
Macbeth.
Maybe you've heard of it.
I never have, but maybe you have.
His first movie was The Legend of Billie Jean,
Oh,
which
yeah.
came out in 1985.
Love that movie.
And most recently, he's done a couple of other things like voiceover acting. He has a very distinctive voice, so he does a lot of voiceover. But most recently, he won a Golden Globe in 2016 for Mr. Robot.
Oh, yeah.
That show
Okay.
with Rami Malek.
Stop.
Rami. I know. I'm sorry. I don't know how to talk. I'm sorry. I forgot.
That's a show. That's another one of those shows that I feel like, I would probably like it.
Rami Malek.
Rami.
Romy.
I don't know. He's not in our
Mr. Malek.
Mr. Malik.
He was also in movies like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
He was Will Scarlet in that.
Okay.
Oh, sigh.
Your eyes are
I
literally
know.
twinkling.
He was in Heathers, which we watched last season.
We did.
Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, I love that movie.
Broken Arrow, True Romance, and Name of the Rose.
Okay.
His personal life, he was married to a woman called Ryan Haddon. And
That's what she was called.
that's what she used to be called.
Okay.
They had 2 kids together, but
Did he punch her?
no. In 2003, she was arrested for assaulting him in an argument at a Hard Rock Cafe in Las Vegas.
Classy.
Yeah. A high point for sure. And she threw a glass bottle at his neck, and he needed 20 stitches in his neck.
Oh my gosh. He's a little bit of a
Spicy.
Spicy. Yeah.
So in 2004, they separated. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, him and his broken neck.
Oh God.
And then in 2013, he married again and has 1 daughter with his new lady love.
His new wife.
That's
his
correct.
new kid.
So 3 kids total. He spends his time between Miami and Manhattan.
Okay.
That's where he has homes.
We live in between those 2 places.
We
so
do. He could
maybe.
stop by any time.
Seriously.
And then he practices something called Kempo Karate.
What is that?
I don't know.
It quiets the mind.
Right. It takes away your
It
rage.
takes away your spice.
It tells you to put your gun away before you get on a plane. Right.
They're like, wow, what changed you? You seem so different
He's
now.
like, it's the Kempo Karate.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to learning more about Christian Slater. Although I feel like I know him so well now.
Yes.
I'm excited to watch this movie.
Okay. What are your any impressions of the movie? Just that you wanted to watch it?
My impression, like I said, I definitely was aware of Christian Slater, and he's very cute. Like he's very cute. Very cute.
Yeah, we were a little concerned about his Heather's performance being like on the nose for Jack Nicholson. So I'll be interested to see if that continues.
Well, I think that's kind of what he was known for, is being like, not what he was known for, but he definitely got,
labeled.
He got labeled because he's he has that distinctive voice, which is
raspy and sexy and hot.
Yeah, and if somebody was doing an impersonation of Jack Nicholson, they would be more like how he is. But that just might be how he is. Right. I don't know. It seems like a choice.
Yeah, I have a full collage under my bed of Christian Slater pictures. If you want to see it, under my bed right now.
Jesus Christ.
All right, let's go watch the movie.
Okay, let's go watch the movie.
Confidently controversial.
Everybody knows.
God, being a teenager is so embarrassing.
It's very hard, too.
Oh, my God. What a movie, Kim.
Tell us about it, Emily. You loved it.
I feel like a lot of this movie I spent feeling very embarrassed.
For yourself, for them.
For everyone. For everyone involved in all of it. And it's funny to me because towards the end of this movie, your husband came out and was like, oh my God, you guys are watching this movie. This is my favorite movie. I would love to have watched this with you guys. And I'm like, why? Why do you love this movie? I think you love the idea of this movie.
I love the idea of it for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing with it. People love the idea of it, but go back and watch it.
Well, but also you're not I'm sorry to tell you this. You're not a teenager anymore. You don't get it. You're a parent. You're the man. You're part of the problem.
Well, first of all, he hates his parents, yet in the end, his parents are not that bad.
Well, he's his parents because they moved him away from his friends and his old high school.
Yeah, okay. Tale as old as time.
And he has a talking problem. And he can't talk to new people, and he misses his friends. And so he's a little just mad about it.
Yeah. I think I am both too mature and too immature for this movie.
Okay.
Because there's certainly the side of me that's just like, okay, these are teenagers and everything is super dramatic. But then there's this other part of me where they're talking about sex and hard-ons and there's like jumping penises and I'm too immature to watch any of that.
But at the same time, don't you watch it and think like, can't you see why teenage you would have liked the movie? Or have you lost that part of yourself?
Oh my gosh.
Have you?
When you get old, your heart dies.
It does.
It's so true. I think I can definitely see how I would have liked it when I was younger. I mean, Christian Slater is very cute.
Yeah, but it's also like damn the man, and then like the schools are trying to get you to do stuff, and this school in particular is pretty terrible, and they're like calling people out and won't let the pregnant girl go there, and they're like raiding lockers, and whoever that guy is, the school cop slash I don't know what his job is, punches a kid in the face.
He does. No, I agree. The school is pretty bad.
And then they like something at the end where she was like still getting money for students that weren't going there and everything.
Well, I think
so they were corrupt.
They were corrupt. I think what it turned out was that she was expelling those students were particularly disenfranchised because they were like everybody was in trouble. And they kind of alluded to it earlier in the film where they said, well, something's wrong here. Like the students could tell something was wrong.
Right.
Because so many kids were on probation or getting in trouble.
Right.
And then it turned out that she was expelling students because if they had a bad...
if they were doing bad in math.
Right, because she wanted to have the highest SAT scores in the state.
Yeah, so she was getting rid of all the problem students so that she could get her test scores up.
Yes, I agree. And I do think that this movie certainly speaks to a certain type. And I certainly would have been a kid who would have been very intrigued by this movie.
So don't act all riled up about it.
Well, I'm not watching it, though, when I'm 17. I'm watching it when I'm 48.
All right. Well, I didn't realize that you lost your luster.
No, I mean, I think that I liked a lot of the stuff in this movie. I thought it's one of these things where, because I'd never seen this movie.
Sure.
And I think in my mind it was like, oh, it's such a cool movie.
Yeah.
When I was young.
And it was.
And I think it's almost like, I've told you before my feelings about Kiss. So like when I was the band.
Okay.
So when I was young, my uncle, who's like, he was a teenager when I was a kid, and he had Kiss posters in his room. And I just thought, like, you know, you're looking at these pictures with the makeup and everything. Sure. You're like, these guys are awesome. They're amazing.
Okay.
But they're so freaking cool. And you build up in your head that their music must be awesome. And then you hear their music, which I didn't hear until I got older.
Right.
It's not that good.
Okay.
And I feel like with this movie, I think I maybe built it up that it was going to be this
French,
thing.
pissing off the Kiss fans. You're just in it today.
I mean, I am taking a note from Christian Slater's character in this movie, and I just want some truth, Kim.
Christian Slater, the original podcaster.
The original podcaster. He said, get out there, start a podcast, get your voice out there, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm telling the world how I truly feel and who I really am.
About Kiss. How you feel about Kiss.
How I feel about Kiss. And so in this movie, I thought that it would have like really cool music. I didn't really like the music in this movie.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Well, what song did you like in particular?
Well, I like that Leonard Cohen song.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like Leonard Cohen too. But they just played the same one.
Yeah, but that's his theme song. It's like confidently controversial. We play it every time.
Mark Cantone, who wrote our amazing theme song and produced it, will be so excited that we're comparing him to Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's our Leonard Cohen. Mark Cantone is our Leonard Cohen. Yeah. I mean, I didn't, I don't know. What are your thoughts watching it again? Because you're hating on me, but you were just as uncomfortable as I was watching the movie.
But I just feel like it's so of the time. Oh, cough is back. Podcast is back. Cough is back.
Christ. Season's canceled.
So, so I think it's just of the time, because I think that like it's very obviously very angsty. It's very like trying to start a revolution. It's trying to like ask questions and like push back against societal norms, which I feel like very easily segue into the grunge era.
Oh yeah, well then the grunge happened like right after this. Mm-hmm. The other thing that this movie made me think about was the 90s approach to mental health.
Yes.
Because what happens in this movie is that he starts doing this show, and it's kind of, he's a lonely kid, and this is his way of expressing himself.
Right.
And then other people are listening, and they are really identifying with this. And so then it starts to get a little real. And people are reaching out.
Sending him letters.
And then he calls the people on the phone. And, the big one that happens is someone calls and he commits suicide.
Right.
But then you also have other people calling who have, like, one person calls who's gay.
Right.
And is talking about his feelings with that. But I think the overall, and he kind of says in this thing, like, yeah, like, we're different, and some of us have these different feelings and everything. And I think I think about the difference between that time when we were younger, and it was like if you had a problem or you were feeling different about something, or you maybe weren't exactly in the line of what was supposed to happen, it was like, okay, you're crazy, but you can't turn to any adults or anyone else for help. We have to just maybe find some people we can talk to who are our friends or our age, because no one is actually going to help us.
Right.
And that is so different from what it is now, which I do think nowadays the culture and the conversation around mental health has just progressed in such amazing ways.
Yes.
This would never be a thing.
No, well, I even think about the fact, like, this movie plot in general. I mean, there's a huge chunk of it is about suicide, about a suicide.
Yeah.
And I feel like if a movie came out right now that focused this much on suicide, it would be very much in the news, in the media. Like, there would be a lot of talk about it. Because there was that, like, 13 Reasons Why or whatever that came out a couple of years ago, and people were losing their minds about that because that was about suicide,
Well,
right?
it also made me think, so we didn't discuss that. We had another little snafu when we went to go try and watch this movie. The movie's not available anywhere,
Right.
which we were both surprised about
Yeah.
because it's a pretty
Popular movie.
popular, famous movie. And we found it on YouTube, and we had to watch it in, like, clips.
Yeah, like somebody recorded it in 5-minute clips, and then you could hit the play all feature and watch the whole thing in line.
Yeah, which they did a pretty good job at.
Yeah,
Good job, whoever did that.
Nice bootlegging.
Yeah, nice bootlegging. But after, I didn't realize that was a part of this movie, but then it did make me think, I wonder if that's why whoever is in charge of picking movies on streaming services was just like, yeah, this flag, do we want to have this one available?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because I think that I work with a program at my job that always flags the word suicide, like even if you're talking about suicide prevention, like it always...
Because it's like an AI that just flags words.
Right. So I think that it probably is in the algorithm that, you know, we don't want to have this conversation. But I think I think ultimately, if you take out like the kind of chesness of the movie,
Sure.
like the message was like, ultimately, like, it's not worth killing yourself. This time in your life is not worth killing yourself over. You're a teenager. Like it gets better ultimately.
Well,
and like,
yeah.
you know, it's not worth it kind of thing, which is not bad.
And I think the way that they handled it, I was a little bit worried when it was first happening and the person called, and, you know, the Christian Slater character he's a kid too.
Right.
And he doesn't know how to handle it with this kid on the phone. So he just kind of stays in character. It's a little bit brazen about it. But then once he realizes the next day that it really happened and this student actually did kill himself, he was really upset about it. I was like, well, I never told him not to.
Right.
And then I think he recognized that he had this power to actually talk to people in a real way. And his character did change his approach to how he was talking to people. So like when the young person called who was gay and was talking about an experience that he had, he was cool about him.
Right.
Yeah.
And even the other caller that ended up being a fake listener who was talking about being molested.
Right.
He was like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's going on with it. Like he's trying to get these kids to open up to him, to be a trusted source.
Well, and I also wonder if that message of we need to just talk about these things, because that's what he's railing against. Like, well, we can't talk about it. Like the one student who explodes all of her awards in a microwave.
Yeah.
She's feeling a lot of pressure and that her parents want her to be this one thing, but she doesn't really want to be it. But this inspires her to finally say who she is and that she doesn't want these things.
Yeah,
and that's something else.
I mean, and that's a big deal too, because that personality type was
that you, Kim?
No. Oh, well, maybe. No, but like that was a big, that personality type was a big thing. Like that overachiever, that perfect person who was meant to go to Yale and was, you know, doing all the right things and getting all the good grades and having all the awards and stuff like that. And that pressure, like we talk about anxiety now, we talk about stress now, we talk about this pressure to, that we put on young people. Back then it was just like, well, this is the way it is.
But I'm wondering, because again, this movie was very popular among a certain group of people. And I wonder if, it inspired some people to say, to go into that field and say, no, we actually do need to talk about this stuff. And there's nothing wrong with.
Right.
So I think ultimately this movie was a force of good.
It was. It was. Hang on and hang in there, Emily.
Hang on and hang in there. I mean, some of it's very cringe.
Yeah, it is very cringe.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think it does have a message that's not bad.
No, it's not problematic overall. I'd say it actually is pretty good.
Let's talk about the acting.
Let's talk about it.
What'd you think of it? What'd you think of Christian
Okay,
Slater?
so
Let's talk about Christian Slater for a little while.
Let's talk about Christian Slater. He's got a good head of hair on him.
He does.
And he's just a handsome.
He's got a strong widow's peak.
But a widow's peak to me is like if you were balding. And that one kid who's like a punk, he's with the dyed blonde hair.
Yeah,
he's got
but don't you think he has this? Doesn't it come to like a point?
I don't think so.
He's a little wolfy.
Is that what you like, Kim?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I mean he's very cute, and he didn't smoke as much as I would think in this movie. I was ready for him to be puffing him down.
He does smoke a lot, but so you assume in like the takes and like all of the.
It's true.
Yeah,
I also didn't realize I thought he did a good job of being a kid who's really can be this personality, and then is just like a shy guy.
Yeah,
in
what did
real
they say?
life.
He has glee, but also he's
pretty. There's a lot of glee and demonism in this movie. The other thing that you said earlier was that he was dating the main love interest in this movie in real life, and that caused them to have a lot of chemistry in this movie.
What did you think about that chemistry?
There was no chemistry. I think that whoever made that conjecture doesn't understand.
I think they were just trying
love.
to write a fun fact. They were like, I found out this fun fact, so I'm going to put it into this context, but I don't think it matched.
Oh, it did not. A lot of weird mouth acting.
Yeah, there was a lot of like breathiness and like and like just like open mouth, like
I want to kiss
hushing.
you. Hushing? What is hushing?
I don't know. It's just something they were doing with their mouths, and they were like talking close to one another, but then they only like smooched once.
Yeah, it was like a little like
but you do see Samantha Mathis's boobs because
those
they both
boobs.
take their tops off for some reason.
Inexplicably.
Yeah.
Well, he takes his off while he's broadcasting to feel free or something.
To feel free.
I mean, you know how one does. You
Right.
take off
When
your
your
shirt to feel
nipples are
free.
out, you feel more free.
I mean,
Sure.
you don't not feel free.
No.
But then she takes her shirt off, and she's a little much for him because I feel like he is.
She's not a very good actress.
And she's not, and I don't think she's a little much. And I get that her character is definitely.
Well, she's like the eat me, beat me lady.
Yeah, but I think she's more that. She's like definitely more extrovert. She
Yeah.
also doesn't understand how, like personas work when it comes to acting. It's like he has a persona on the radio and she's like not understanding the fact that that's not who he
because
really
she
is.
is the person that she is in the letters.
Yes.
And she's just very breathy and dramatic.
It was a little much. It was a little much. Yeah. It's like, well, you're in love with him. Show that you're in love with him. She's like, moving her mouth all weird.
Right.
But yeah, no chemistry between the two of them. Mm-mm. At least not in, I made the comment, we had watched Heathers last season, which I highly recommend. Go back, listen to that episode if you have not. But I loved Christian Slater and Winona Ryder in that movie. And I felt like they did have a ton of chemistry. And when it's just fun to watch the two of them in that movie.
Yeah, that's another antisocial suicide movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a type.
You like that one better than this one?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It's more fun.
It's interesting when you didn't see a movie when it came out and to see the reaction to it. I mean, it's happened to me a lot with your glorious choices.
Oh, just wait, Kim. I've got those perfect 10 picked out already. And there's some ones on there where I was like, yep, this one's going to make her mad.
Exciting. I'm excited. I wanted to talk about too, the setting of the high school with the outside setting. That was the dream, right?
Well, I think because so many of the movies that we watched when we were younger were shot in California schools, and in California schools or schools that have warmer climates.
Right.
Climates.
They
send kids outside. But here's my question.
Uh-huh.
What do those children do when it rains?
They stay inside.
Where do they eat? Do they not have
in the cafeteria? There's a cafeteria there in that school. It's just they choose. They get to be outside in the fresh air if they want to.
I feel like our in our high school, they wouldn't even if it was nice outside, they'd be like, you're not allowed outside the school.
Right. Well, I also think about too, like, okay, so like a lot of those outside high schools, the lockers are outside. They don't have room for them in the building, so they put them outside. Do you think that
they're under an awning?
I know, but do you still think that the papers get a little like
moist,
damp?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's stinky.
Right. Like they're a little. Maybe those lockers are a little mildewy.
Like don't leave your gym clothes in
No.
overnight.
And then by the end of the summer, when they've all been empty and dank,
and they're a little rusty.
Ugh, probably not a good smell.
Not a good smell. No, but yeah, I think the outside high school situation seems far superior to ours.
It always seemed like a great deal.
Yeah, I think going into high school, I thought it would be a lot more
outside.
Well, you hear about those people too who are allowed to go home
or go out to lunch.
Yeah,
like go off campus for lunch, like Saved by the Bell when they went to the Max all the time.
Can you imagine? Like we could have feasibly gone to McDonald's
or the Courthouse Diner.
The Courthouse Diner,
right?
Coho Diner,
or Mr. Donut. Yeah,
Mr. Donut was like.
That's why they didn't let us. They were like, "There's no healthy lunch choices available locally.
It's better for them to stay here
inside and eat these Nutter Butters,
right? And get a juice from the juice machine that probably had more sugar than any soda in it,
right? Remember when we got that vending machine? Remember when we got the vending machine?
Oh yeah,
it was like a big day.
It was a big day.
Yeah,
you could get juice in like
a can.
Were they in cans?
Yeah.
Okay. But it was like fruit punch. There was a guava.
Yeah, but they didn't have soda. It was just juice, which was probably just as bad
That's
for
what
you.
I mean.
Yeah,
it was just as bad for you. There's just as much sugar in all those juices.
Right. And they would let you buy, like, they didn't care about what you ate for lunch. They didn't care about you.
No, I did not buy lunch when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was a bit of a jock. And I was like the Emilio Estevez character from Breakfast Club. Where
Two sandwiches.
Yeah, my parents would pack me like double lunches because I would, I often worked out before school and then would have, a sport after school.
Sure.
So I couldn't make it through a day without having a sandwich in the middle of class. And I remember being in like social studies and just like, I was like, pulling out a sandwich and just taking bites of it. Yeah.
I was always on a diet and I didn't eat lunch.
What? Why were you on a diet?
Because,
No.
societal pressures and all that. But I really didn't eat lunch in high school. I probably drank some of that juice.
Probably did.
And then I went to band practice for like 4 hours after school and then probably came home and ate even less. And nearly died. You should feel bad for me.
I do feel bad for you.
I wasn't eating 2 sandwiches, I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what, Ed Rosenberg would not have stood for that.
No.
He would have made sure you had your double lunch every day with your, instead of just regular lettuce, they would use lettuce from salads from the night before. So sometimes it would have some shredded carrots in it and it would make me real mad.
It would make you mad?
So mad.
I'd be like, sweet treat. It's a carrot.
God, you're weird.
I know.
Well, overall, I mean, I think I enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
I won't watch it again.
Would they make it again?
They would remake this.
Yeah.
But it would be like a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It would be some kind of podcast that kids were just listening to.
Like this one.
Right. Corrupting young minds.
Changing the world.
Are we?
Send us a letter. Call in. We'll call you.
We'll call you.
On
oh
our
my God.
cordless phone.
We will. If you guys send us an email with your phone number, we won't call you. We might text you.
We'd be scared to talk to you, just like Christian Slater's character in this movie.
Right. Like we're, in that way, we are definitely a lot like Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could see how you loved this movie when you were younger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is all me. All the time.
This shaped your personality, who you are.
That's why I'm a podcaster today, because of Happy Harry Hardon.
No, let's not talk about, he was a little... The other thing I thought of was, when did Howard Stern happen? Howard Stern started in the 80s.
Yeah, he's been out longer than this. But I do think that this probably had a lot to do with the DOX experience. Don't you, after watching it?
Yes, but but DOX didn't have like a DJ.
No, but I think this idea of like, I can make content.
Yes.
He was the first content creator.
One of. He was, and the FCC went nuts.
Right. Teen Wolf's dad got mad.
Teen Wolf's dad was incensed about the whole thing. Yeah, I think young people today definitely have a lot more outlets to express themselves
They
than
do.
we did. And I think we expressed ourselves a lot through our music that we were listening to. And DOX, certainly, I think everybody really was excited about it.
Right.
When we figured out, like, oh, like, what, this isn't like a real radio station. This is like
Because it was
a pirate
Fubo.
thing. It was what?
Fubo.
It,
Do you remember that?
for us, by us.
Yes. Not us, though.
Not us. It was not Fubu for us. Oh, man. Yeah. DOX. Rest in peace, DOX.
Yeah.
What was the number? Do you remember the numbers?
No, I remember Boss 97, though, obviously.
97 XM, 100.7 ZXL.
Uh-huh.
I want to say DOX was like 104,
106.3?
106.3, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look it up. I wonder if we could look it up.
I don't know. It
DOX.
seems so underground. No one's written about it
It
online.
probably was. Well, Kim,
Yes.
so we're getting to that point in the show.
What point?
The point where
The point where what?
the point where we talk about the Slater connection.
Well, obviously, this Slater is pretty easy. You dumbass. But I do think we might have a sound effect for when it's him or something like that, right?
No, we have a direct connect.
No, I know, but I think if you listen to the last episode where we did Pretty and Big, there was some kind of, oh my God, it's him. I'm doing it again just in case you need it.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously Christian Slater's in this movie.
Okay. Well, I wonder if this movie will come up.
I kind of miss James Spader already.
I know, I do too.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
I know. Well, I think it's because, I'm wearing one of our shirts.
I know, and it's so good.
That features James Spader. And if you guys are interested in purchasing this shirt, it says, "But Daddy, I love him."
Which is from The Little Mermaid.
It is. And it has a picture of James Spader in his most iconic role.
Yeah.
So
It's a hot picture.
It's a hot picture. If you'd like to see this t-shirt and perhaps purchase one or one of our other lovely t-shirts, hats, stickers, sweatshirts,
Yeah.
you can visit us at confidentlycontroversial.com. Check out some old episodes from season 1 if you missed them. And if you're missing James Spader, you could also check out our Instagram, where there's a lot of James Spader on there.
Yeah, and a lot of other good content. Like, we're very good at this. I don't know. I just don't understand.
I love our Instagram.
Yeah,
It makes me
then,
happy.
That's confidently controversial on Instagram, and then Emily, she makes some lovely little TikToks.
I do.
'Cause she's so cool and young and hip, and she's at confidently contro over on the talk.
Over on the talk, and also you can follow us on YouTube. You might be listening to this on YouTube because people listen to our full episodes there.
That's
sometimes.
awesome. Hello.
You know how some podcasts will have video to go along with it? Will we ever?
I can't imagine. I mean, I look beautiful, but but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right for us.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
But did anything else we need to add?
I don't know. You usually say something about like being confident and not controversial.
Oh, I just thought that there was some other like promo-y stuff.
Oh,
that we
no.
need to.
Just like us, follow us, tell your friends.
Tell us, like reach out to us and tell us that
Yeah.
you like us. Comment on one of our things and just tell us, just be like, ladies,
Right.
I love you. You don't understand how much that makes our day. Because
Like in the middle of work, we'll stop work and be like, oh my God, look.
look, someone likes us.
Right.
It's so nice to be liked.
But
We
we're
have
not going
another
to beg.
fan.
We're not going to beg. Stop begging. Okay.
Okay.
What else?
Well, but I would say this.
Okay.
I think you should be confident enough to go out there and say what's on your mind, speak your mind, be who you are on the inside.
So be it.
So be it. Start that underground radio station with all the weird ham radio equipment that your parents buy
People
you.
love radio. It's 2024 and people are here for radio.
Absolutely. AM radio is coming back. You should definitely do it. But I'm going to tell you this. When you do that, don't be so confident and brazen that you're not taking into account that you have an audience out there that are listening and hanging on to your every word.
Yeah, but that would be
you say.
controversial.
Okay.
Not. Okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
don't.
You
Okay,
missed it.
just don't. Did I?
No, it's fine.
Okay, well, we love you guys.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time.
Ew, did we say that? No.
Goodbye.
Confidently